Kamal Wazaki est une célébrité locale.
Salah, Salah!
L'été dernier, il s'est rendu en Syrie comme agent humanitaire.
Tu es mon fils. Je t'aime.
Je vais partir un petit moment, mon petit frère.
Regarde, regarde!
قال أبو بكر البلجيكي لا تخافي مني. I don't wanna hurt you. عندي خويا واحد نسيم خويا الصغير عمي سيم.
But this certainly is based on people that we knew. So
yeah. I really saw it firsthand. I come from a neighborhood where the highest percentage of young Muslims went to Syria, so I really saw it. I played soccer with them, went to school, and see them one by one leave. It was like really, it was a phenomenon we didn't understand at the time, but we wanted to understand what was happening, and then. Later, the attacks happened in Europe, and then, these propaganda ISIS videos came out, and then I saw these kids or young guys that I knew, and they were talking in our language in this really, dark ISIS video. So it was really painful and painful to see that, these guys that have the same background as us, being Muslim, Moroccan, Belgian people.
Yeah.
It was like, it was very important for us to tell this story and show and understand how people radicalize so fast and how this phenomenon happened. And we wanted to tell this, with all the complexities and nuances, because there's a lot of TV shows and movies that really don't show the Muslim perspective, and that's really what we wanted to do, like go see it from the inside out.
yeah, but I think that there's always this kind of balance. It's not necessarily as extreme as doing something for them or for us. It's just like when we grew up, and still now we enjoy both. I think that when you go, I mean, Jerry Bruckheimer, you love all of his movies. You love to go to the cinema and see a good Michael Bay movie. And at the same time, you also love watching a very controversial Oliver Stone movie or Spike Lee movie that's really in your face. So it's just like that broad spectrum of cinema that we very much enjoy watching, and to get the chance to make it, that's a big honor and big privilege. And we learn from both of them. The big Hollywood techniques, Jerry Bruckheimer School of Action technique helped us in achieving like the war sequences of Rebel, which I don't think would have been the same if we had not that experience. So we love this balance. I think that what we really love is to try to find a movie that has a bit of both, basically. Yeah.
For us, it was really important to make a movie that told the story as genuine and as honest as possible. That's why we worked on it for 8 years, did a lot of research, but at the same time we also wanted to make a cinema movie, make it for a wide audience, to tell this very important story that people would not see if it's just like a very artistic small movie. But everything we did is always a reason why we did it. In the case of the musical aspects, this subject matter is so complex, and the emotions are so complex that sometimes you cannot achieve the same thing or with a dialogue scene. And there's something about with music and dance and poetry that reaches people, or the people on another level. It's like transcends something that's just like a dialogue scene. It gives you a feeling, even if you don't understand the words or the singing or the dancing, you feel and understand what it is, and it really explains the character from the inside. You go in the mind of our character. And at the same time, ISIS was against music, it was against dancing, it was against the female voices, instruments. So for us, it was like very important to make a movie against ISIS, and by doing it with dance, poetry, and music, it was very important. And it's also really a part of our Arabic culture. it is something that, you know, throughout hundreds of years, this has been part of our culture. And ISIS is just, you know, the dark version, or, you know, the obscurantism of our culture. And by making it with the musical and all the poetry, it shows the real version of how we experience our culture and our religion.
Yeah, for us, in an attempt of making a very complete movie about basically that decade of the Syrian civil war and ISIS and the rise of it, it was very important to have that character of Noor, which symbolizes for us what all the women went through. You know, the women of Raqqa, the women of Mosul as well, and the Yazidi women. So all the women that were basically, you know, enslaved by this terrorist organization, and she represents the women of that, you know, also that area where all of a sudden a bunch of guys from another country, from a Western country, come to them to tell them how to be, how to dress, how to think, how to be in their religion, while, you know, they're just the victims of that place. And for us, for me, you know, like also naming her Noor, which means light in Arabic, big contrast against the darkness of ISIS. And it was very important for me to make this really that strong character that is doing everything to survive, and it is an inspiring person. And I hope that all the women in that, you know, Syria and in Iraq that escaped ISIS, survived ISIS, that they recognize themselves. In fact, there were some girls in a refugee camp in Beirut that saw the movie, and they said it really reminded them of what they went through. And it's really like the fight against everything that it's toxic about masculinity, and about you know, men trying to enslave in their minds the weakest members of society, you could say, you know. And she symbolizes that strength, you know. She's, for us, maybe one, she together with the mom are the strongest characters and are the inspiring people. Yeah, because they're all, you know, it's besides the religious aspect, it's also, yeah, like you said, it's a very cultural aspect, you know. That's basically how we talk. I think that even Moroccans that might not necessarily be religious or even not believe in God, they're still gonna say inshallah, if God will. Never sure, and they might then in their minds refer to the universe will decide if it happens, you know. But that's a really big part of it. And I think that we as Muslims, it was important to tell that story also from a Muslim's perspective, you know, because a lot of those stories are not told from a Muslim perspective. You know, it's basically, they say Islam extremism. That's how simple it is. And in truth, that's not what it is. So for us, it was important to show the mom and Noor praying, and also the character of Kamal praying, you know, before he gets sucked into ISIS. Because ISIS for us is more like a gangster terrorist organization or mafia organization more than a religious organization.
Abu Bakr, we know him from our previous movie, Black, that we made in 2015, 16. And he's from Molenbeek. He's a rapper, and he lived through this time. So he knew the subject matter very well. And it was also something like, actually for every character, a very important story to tell. So having Abu Bakr playing Kamal was just like the role was written for him. He wrote also all the lyrics, so we gave him, you know, the subject matter of a song, and then he wrote the lyrics himself. He's a great rapper. So yeah, Abu Bakr.
No, we actually discovered that as we were doing castings for actresses in the Middle East, there was a list of people, and right away her audition, she was great. She was exactly the character that we were looking for, somebody that has this innocence at the same time that strength, you know, and she did a lot of research also as well, and obviously, you know, she has a lot of like people that she know that experience those things in Syria, as it's very close to the border. So that she was just a discovery and was really perfect for the pod. Well, it was next level shit.
That's a quote from the interview.
It was the craziest, you know. We had a lot of fun because it was the opportunity to bring a new character to life, to discover Iman, and also they allowed us to do very funky visual animation kind of things, you know. So that was I think that it was cool to be allowed to do something that you had never seen before in the MCU, a kind of charming comic book, wholesome feeling. That was also very youthful, and yeah, I hope that maybe one day we get the chance to go back, you know.
And just the opportunity to work with Kevin Feige was like
the legend,
the OG.
Yeah, that's cool. Big honor, and very proud to be part of that world.
Tu vas faire partie de cette vidéo. Comme bourreau, comme victime. À toi de choisir.